Hola, 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 mi gente. Let's get rid of our tune so we can start the party. George Cook, nice to see you, sir.
Hey, George.
Hey, how's it going? Both of you look nice tonight. Both of
Thank
you.
Well,
you.
thank you. I feel nice.
I love this top, Lily. What is happening? We got a date after the show?
Right. Okay, I might have to get one. Okay. Let me work on that in the next hour on the show. Who's on a date? Just
Oh my
saying.
goodness. Speaking of, I had a friend invite me out last night to see The Equalizer. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It is absolutely amazing.
Is this the
Okay.
third one?
Yes, yes. And it's funny because The Equalizer, people are like, oh, Denzel's getting old. But no, it was amazing. It was freaking amazing. Like the gun fu and basically the fighting with the gun and stuff. And it's so good. And it seems so, for lack of a better term, I know we have to suspend disbelief for these films, but it looked like real. You know what I mean? It looked like some, what do they call it? Krav Maga. Or it just looked really, really dope. It wasn't unrealistic. Like when you see John Wick, and I feel like I like John Wick, the first one, but John Wick started looking like a video game with actors
Yeah,
in it. It's like
it actually it's there's a to me it's a John Wick is an action movie, of course, but it's kind of a satire
okay.
on other things. In obviously, it's not the night to go into that, but there's like
Right.
several things, at least to me, give that away, and it's really well done. You know the way they do it.
Okay. All right. I guess if I start looking at it like satire, then it gets exhausting. It's like it looks like the writers get in the room and decide how many people can we drop with bullets in this one, right? I'm like 500, 600. It's like, and I'm like, where's the storyline? But if I look at it that way, then I guess I can look at it differently. Welcome everyone to On the Block with Jen. Okay, we're going to get right into it. If you're wondering who we are, check any other stream that we have. Follow all of us. You know how to support on social media. It is currency for us. If you follow all of us, we're all a bunch of very talented people with full lives and careers. This is the side gig. YouTube is a side gig, but we really do entertain and we give you your clicks worth. Okay, so please follow us all on social media. We also all have YouTube pages. So welcome everyone. Anything you'd like to say before we begin? Any fluff on the table tonight before we get into this very interesting topic?
Yes, I have a little bit of musical fluff tonight. Okay.
Oh,
This is referring to our friend, I say that loosely, Diddy.
our
All
friend.
right. Now, I don't know if you all heard. Okay. So Diddy has gotten a lot of flack over the years for, people like claim that he allegedly robs his artist. Okay. People talk about the bad boy curse and how everyone from Bad Boy is not doing well, but he's a billionaire. Okay. And you know how I feel about billionaires. But anyway, so with that being said, um, the news came out that his artists, all of his artists that were signed before 1999, got their catalog back, their publishing back. A lot of artists were fighting for years and years. Like Mace, we know Mace was going back and forth. It started to look like a lover's quarrel, right? Could have been, we don't know, but they were going back and forth about that, right? So everyone's like, "Oh my God, Diddy, you did the right thing! Yay, hooray! He's doing the right thing. He's making an amends." Not so fast. There's more to the story. Yes, there's more to the story. So you know me, I can't leave well enough alone. So I started digging through the files, and I was like, well, what's this? What's this? Well, apparently, Universal Music Group, which is like a huge conglomerate, and Bad Boy happens to be under it, right? They have some type of amnesty program where they bought off the catalogs for the artists that were signed to Bad Boy Records and other records labels before 1999, right? So they paid off the debt so that the artists can get their publishing back. So everyone's like making it like, oh, did he have a change of heart? He's being a good man. He sees the error in his ways. No, the debts were paid. What adds insult to injury for the artists, a lot of the artists are not celebrating this because they were like, as of 2023, our catalogs have been pretty much like stripped of any kind of like value. It no longer has value. So they're just pretty much giving them back nothing, but the money has already been made and probably spent. but the artist didn't get to see any of that. So that's what's going on there. I wanted to report on that because a lot of people are only reporting on like a quarter of the story and leaving a couple of things out. Oh, you're muted, Jen.
We should make that a whole topic on another day for sure. It sounds interesting. Sounds detailed. A little fluff I want to share, and we're going to have to revisit this entire topic. We were talking about Brother Polight. And, you know, he has been sentenced to 7 years. The case is taking a quite bizarre turn. You would think after the sentencing it's over, but Brother Polight has continued to upload videos to his social media pages saying that all his charges were dropped. Very, very strange behavior from someone who is convicted and sentenced. He is not once, but twice, long drawn out videos of him explaining how all the charges were dropped, although the man is behind bars right now. Quite bizarre. But we're going to get into this on another day because I want to discuss him, social media, and artificial intelligence, how it's getting really, really strange on social media. I mean, this man was convicted and sentenced, and he's uploading videos saying, I am free. The charges were dropped. The evidence was X, Y, and Z. And not so much that he's unhinged, because the man is obviously unhinged, but the audience and the people believing what he's saying in the comments without doing the research. It's getting very, very bizarre out here. The man is behind bars. He's saying he is free and all charges were dropped. Quite strange indeed, but not for tonight. We will definitely revisit second episode of Black Mirror. No, Saint, welcome, darling. Any fluff from you? If not, let's get into this.
Well, I was going to bring up exactly what you brought up. All I was going to say was these videos were pre-recorded, and it kind of explains why he didn't want the stream to go on live, because his plan, I think the video you showed that you posted earlier was saying they dropped all the sexual charges on him. So he wants to say basically at one point when if he's going to be able to broadcast through the prison, I don't know, but basically he wants to come out and pick up where he left off. That's
which is
all
why
I think about it.
Right,
Yeah.
which is why I said her mother was stupid to not put her on the stand and give him some very, very stupid. Not to mention he'll only have to do what, 85% of his time? 85%?
Yeah.
Very, very, very
no.
stupid.
Possibly less, because what state? Hold on, is he in Florida or is he in Florida? Okay, so 85%.
Yeah, 85%. I'm just like, I'm floored at how stupid she is, but whatever, she gave her whatever. Anyway, so we definitely have to revisit as a topic because it's very, very bizarre behavior, and I can see other people doing it going into the future. It's like some people are like just willfully like, I don't care. I want to believe the charges would drop because I gave this guy all my money. So I'm just going to, it's really, really weird.
It is.
Before you leave that topic, I posted in the chat last night. It's strange. This guy, Jeffrey Epstein, which we all know who that was, he got busted here in Florida for child molesting and all that. And he got a really light sentence. Okay. And I was kind of sitting here thinking, maybe this dude knows some of the people who knew Jeffrey Epstein, who, as we know, came out, was involved in a lot of other things and what have you. And based on what you all are telling me, I'm like, because normally they come down hard on people like that here, in Florida. So, but anyway, yeah, just anybody can find any link between him and Epstein. It might be a.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of these people who are into children are connected. So I would not be shocked if they were connected in some way, shape, or form. However, he could have got that 60+ year sentence if not for her mother. I have to rest on that. I really, really do.
Do you think mom is still in love with this man?
She could be. I've seen it. I have seen it. I actually did. I was part of a project where I was interviewing women victims of a narcissist. And some women, you know, when you see them talking, you might have seen this in documentaries, when women talk about the people that ran them ragged, there's a huge smile on their face and they're like, yeah, but when we met, it was, you know what I mean? So there's still a part of them that's connected to that person. So I wouldn't be shocked if she was still in love with him too, Lily. I would not be in shock. I would not be in shock that she wanted him to pay, but not take 60 years away from his life. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked. I don't know who would see their child be, you know what I mean, sexually assaulted like that and be like, oh, let's get him to 7. What'll get him to 7?
I can't.
Topic. But this case is quite interesting. So tonight's topic, this gentleman here, I use the word gentleman loosely, UFC fighter, his name is Sean O'Malley, said he can cheat on his wife because he pays for everything, right? So the question tonight is, do high-value men deserve to cheat? Now, I do have the article because I was like, are you guys embellishing? What did he really say verbatim? What's his quote? Yeah. So I did get the article from the paper. Do people still read papers? Online paper. Okay. And it says here, UFC, Sean O'Malley, I can cheat on my wife because I pay for everything. I'm a king. I pay for everything, said Sean O'Malley on Raw Talk podcast. He can do whatever, whenever, with whomever he pleases. And the article goes on to say, I treat Danielle like a queen. That's his wife. I treat Danielle like a queen. If I get a little pussy on the side, what does that have to do with anything? I have testosterone running through my veins. It's simple. The recently crowned UFC bantamweight champion has long been in an open relationship with his wife, Danielle Gonzalez, and he once claimed they have dope threesomes together. O'Malley said his success in the octagon, which includes a shocking knockout victory over Aljamain Sterling to claim the UFC bantamweight championship on Saturday, has a lot to do with what he pleases to do outside of it. If I wasn't paying for everything, he says, if I wasn't, successful in any sort of way, and I was just like maybe an average Joe, I probably would not cheat. It probably wouldn't be fair. But I'm fucking King Kong, baby. I'm Sean O'Malley. Instead, O'Malley referenced Andrew Tate for his thought process. Andrew Tate explains it well, O'Malley says. It's all about status. I got the status. That means I can. Okay? Potentially referencing the clip of Tate saying that women give men status. As you know, Tate gained notoriety in recent years for his highly luxurious lifestyle with boasting an ultra masculine persona. O'Malley said with an eye roll that his wife is never actually fine with it and that she goes through phases when it comes to accepting his relationship choices. That is what he said. He's referencing Andrew Tate. We spoke about, are these, these YouTube characters, are they influencing dating, marriage, and relationships? Apparently, he referenced Andrew Tate. Now, let's ask a serious question, because I'm of the belief, more money, more problems. A man that is sought after for his goods, right, be it his looks or his money, is going to have tons of options. And men aren't exactly raised or reared, right, to be coy and not promiscuous. They usually raised to be, hey, conquer the world, conquer the pussy, get you a good wife, do what you have to do. I know growing up in a Puerto Rican home, I heard a lot this reference in Spanish, los hombres son de la calle, literally meaning men are for the streets. Women are not, right? So this is across all cultures. It is understood that men do what they do out in the streets. Women, no. So let me pass the mic. Got more stuff to say, but I'll pass the mic. Tristan!
I just have one question. If the tables turn at any given point in the relationship, does that same logic apply to her? Meaning, if her income surpasses his and it's flipped, because stranger things have happened, right? Well, he's a fighter, right? So anything can stop that career, and then anything can propel her career. Who knows? So does that same logic work for her? Is what I would like to know. That's one question. And a lot of the questions that I did have were answered in the article, such as, is she okay with it? Because my thing is like, okay, if she was okay with it, I'm like, all right, well, hey, y'all have at it. Because I think about broke motherfuckers have this arrangement, right? So it ain't got nothing to do with money. But the fact that he's making it about the money and he's making that the I'm like, oh, this ain't the real issue. That motherfucker's probably hell at home. Right? If this is his thought process, because it's not going to just stop with the money. It's going to be everything. It's gonna be entangled in all of their relationship. That ideology that he has, surrounded by like, I'm the one that makes the money, like the beating of the chest thing, which all this says to me is that, okay, just say that you grew up with a low, like, insecure, and now that you got a piece of money, that now this is going to supplement for that. So I have more to say, but I'll let the gentleman talk and I'll be back.
Sirs.
My question, after I heard everything that you read, because I was thinking the same thing as Lily. At first I thought, well, they have an understanding and it was okay with her, but it doesn't sound like it's okay with her. So now my question is, what is the marriage arrangement as far as, is there a prenuptial? Because this isn't going to last long. And if there's not a prenup, it's definitely not going to last long if there's not a prenup. The only thing I think would be keeping her is the lifestyle, because if she is not okay with it and she has issues with it and it's this early, I mean, those excuses he's making, like I'm a conqueror and I have testosterone, first of all, he probably has extra testosterone running through his veins, I'm sure, because those guys do.
Allegedly.
But it doesn't make a whole lot of that's just an excuse. If he was an average Joe, he would still be doing it, in my opinion. So I don't know. That's my question is there a prenup? Because if not, I think it's only a matter of time before that relationship goes south. And I don't think he really cares. I think the way he feels about women, if she leaves, she leaves.
Okay. Jen, I would like to have, what did Kevin Samuel say for 300? This is one, you've heard me say before, I agreed with him on several different things, right? But this is the one area that he said he openly espoused. He said high value men have options. And I was watching the show the night that he told this woman, it's kind of like, hey, this is the price you pay to her to get with a high value man, because he's going to have options. And if you're getting everything paid for, taken care of, then really you kind of knew what you signed up for when this happened. That's Kevin Samuels telling her that. In this case, my hunch is kind of like the rest of you. If she fools around on him, there's going to be hell to pay, even though technically it's an open marriage, but it may just be open for him, right? And this is also whenever they talk about toxic masculinity, this is it.
Because some people say toxic masculinity doesn't exist.
Yeah, well, that's what this is. And this is the pitfall where Kevin Samuels and others, Rollo Tomasi, others, Rollo's kind of in the same boat. I've heard him say, he didn't go as far as to say men are entitled to cheat, but how he and that guy, Michael Sartain, just ate up the ass with evolutionary psychology. Okay. Everything's about, out there in the wild, men did this and the women do that. And so everybody's just kind of like, you have no fucking control over yourself. You just do what you do.
Right.
And so
they love a statistic.
Yeah. And so, and the truth is, there's like truth to it, but then there's like what they're saying. But here's the thing that I had a problem with Kevin Samuels and that kind of philosophy is in the end, it's really all about elevating yourself and putting yourself, you come first. Everything's about you. And so it's kind of like, well, since I make all the money, I get to make all the decisions. And so I get to do this and I get to do that. And if you're going to, kind of like the whole thing, and it can happen with women, on the other side of the fence, but it's kind of like, you do it my way or there's the highway. And since he has options, and we see this with Leonardo DiCaprio, they are lined up down the block, waiting on him because they want to, let's just face it. There's some women, hold up your sign, some, not all. Okay. That Jen, I want to be just real cynical and say they enjoy the lifestyle. And so they're going to put up with it. If y'all remember the show Dallas.
I used to love Dallas.
Okay. One of the episodes, I've been watching it, bits and pieces of it online. I didn't realize how good this show was. I was a kid then, but when it came out, but anyway, Sue Ellen, JR's wife, she leaves him and she goes out and has this tryst with this young kid, Peter. And Peter lives in like this, 1-bedroom apartment, whatever. He's just a young kid just starting out. Long story short, she says, look, I've got it too good with JR. Basically, in so many words, what she says. I've got it too good. Even though he cheats on me and he does this, he does that, you can't give me what he can. And so she stays. And I thought that was like in that moment, it's where you see this raw, where people kind of like put their cards on the table and you kind of see what they're all about. And I hate to say it, and it may be in the case of this woman here, hope not, but she may have signed up for it. She says, oh, this dude's going to make some money. I'm going to ride this thing until I get tired of it. And something tells me, no sync, that he probably did not do a prenup. And so she's got his ass.
So to answer everyone's curiosity, there's an article here in Sports Manor, and it straight up says, no, she can't. Sean O'Malley does not let his wife, Danielle Gonzalez, sleep with other men because of Andrew Tate. Although Sean O'Malley has the freedom to sleep with other women, he has stopped letting his partner do the same due to Andrew Tate's influence. During his appearance on the Flagrant podcast, Sean revealed how Andrew Tate has had a major influence on his life and his relationship. Again, we're going back to how these men come out of nowhere and influence men they've never met, never invested in, don't know, and are influencing these men. These men are like little sponges when it comes to these characters on YouTube. What say you, Lily, you were saying?
Well, I was going to say, like, a high earning man is the equivalent of a beautiful woman in this world, right?
I always say that.
So just as he's desired for his high earning, she's just as desired if she's beautiful. So if we're going to go with that logic, like, oh, well, I'm desired. Okay, well, motherfucker, I'm desired too. Okay, so what are we going to do? Right. But, it's just like these weird ideologies, like you said, they get from these people that they try to piece together, and then they wonder why shit ain't working, because that's just not reality. I think someone said earlier, yeah, she may stay for a little bit, but even that's going to get old. It's funny. My manager and I, we was laughing about the inconvenience fee that Mariah Carey charged the guy for not marrying her. And so my manager's like, what's his name again? So she looked him up, and then this man is a multi-billionaire, billion with a B. And she was looking at the string of failed, and I'm talking like didn't even barely get off the ground marriages, didn't even barely get off the ground relationships, and engagements that didn't go through. We was like, this dude has to be something seriously wrong that these women can't even endure, because he's not a good looking guy. So we all know they were there for the resources. They could even endure whatever it is he was bringing to the table for billions of dollars, right? So this man is not even a billionaire, and this is the stuff that he's bringing out and spewing to us. So for everything that we get to know, there's at least 10 things that we don't know, right? So I can imagine how quick this is going to last, dealing with that situation.
I think going back to what George said, I think the need for status and money and gifts and the need and the desire to go shopping trumps naivete. I don't think that these women are naive as they play when the mistresses start posting screenshots. These women know these are high value men or high earning men, like Tristan said, and they're going to have multiple women in multiple states or even around the world sometimes. Okay. And I think that they know that. They just don't want it, to hit the public. So, he says himself, she has a hard time with it sometimes. I agree. You know what you signed up for. However, with this woman, she was the one shooting with him in the gym, so to speak, right? For lack of a better term. She was with him from the beginning. She helped him, whatever, climb to where he is. She's the one responsible for his signature hair colors. It says here, the couple has faced their share of issues navigating through problems in an open relationship. However, Danya is an integral part of his life, and Sean's also addressed that Gonzalez will always be his main girl no matter what. So do these women know that they are just the main girl? I think they do. And I think that they play, as they say, the long game, right? Whether it's the point where I'm going to wait for him to make more money so I can divorce him, or I can get myself in a certain position so I can divorce him. But I feel like these women are not dumb. Whenever I see an athlete or, he cheated, I'm like, really? Was it cheating? Or was it just cheating when it hit the press? Because I'm sure you know.
I don't.
Yeah, that guy, Dr. Taraban, I think I've sent a few. I don't know if y'all have seen his channel. He's been on his channel's blown up. He's got like over 200,000 subs now. But anyway, he did a thing on. He was the one I told y'all about that. He said women treat men like a job, where they basically they're fine with one, and because they're naturally hypergamous, a better offer comes along. If this job ain't doing it for them, they go look for another one, or they take the other one.
That's funny.
Yeah,
that is hilarious.
Go look it up. It's really pretty good. The way he explains it, it's really pretty good. And it's kind of like, in a really kind of simplified manner, it is kind of like that. And so where I guess where I was going with all this is that I'm like you, Jen, at some point, they're in their 20s right now. She doesn't know enough to know better. On one sense, on one hand, now I'm not saying she's naive. She sees the dollars, but she's blinded by the money, in that she thinks that's going to be enough. Okay, that's my point, is that she thinks that's going to be enough. And to a point it will be, but then the whole thing about this is just the George Cook theory, is I think women have a natural desire to want to bond with a man, be exclusive with him. I think they naturally do. Some, I'm going to say most in this case, not all. And I think she's going to want to do that, and especially when it comes to children and all of this, calls the whole dynamic of children coming into play. And it might be at that point when she says, I've had enough, and out the door she goes.
Right. And it says here, and I agree with you, George, by the way. I think when and they're young, they're in their 20s, right? Yeah. He's in his late 20s. When I was in my 20s, I felt like that too. I was like, oh my God, I need to bond. And oh my God. And then the older you get, the more independent you get. And it's not even a a turning up your nose up at men. And I think that's the mistake men make, that men think like, oh, you independent now, you don't need us. It's not that. It's just a natural progression, right? I need you in my 20s. I don't really know what I'm doing in my 30s. I think life is about love and commitment and children. And then you get older, you start making more money, and you're kind of like, I don't need you as much as I used to. I still want you. I'm still a heterosexual woman. I love men, right? All parts, but you just get older and you're like, right? But it's interesting here. It says that she's an entrepreneur herself. It says she's a hairstylist based in Arizona. She owns a small business and also has a degree in cosmetology. Additionally, Gonzalez is also responsible for Sean's iconic hairstyles that he keeps changing each fight. It says here that she has supported him and she's always made sure he had what he needed so he can focus on the fighting. It says, you know, he believes he provides Danya with everything she wants, which is why she also doesn't go out. Instead, she focuses on things she's passionate about and takes care of their daughter. The couple has talked things through with each other, and Sean is highly appreciative of his wife for their current lifestyle. So he gives her a lot of credit for being that ride or die, right? Now he's the, he's the big head nigga in charge. He got more money. Now come more women and she has to stay home with the child. I think it'll grow old. The older she gets, the more money she gets. If she truly is a successful entrepreneur, the dynamics are going to change.
Yeah, because, what we're talking about, Jen, earlier about not needing and men misunderstanding. I'm going to circle back to that part in just a second. But this whole thing about women, the number one thing that I've learned over these years is that number one thing they desire is security. And so right now, that's what he represents: security, this, that, the other. But then, as you're talking about, she grows in her career, builds her own career up, and becomes successful. She realizes the security need from him is not necessary anymore, or is way, way, way less, because she sees that, hey, I can fucking make it on my own here. But going back to about men misunderstand, Lily, the other night when you were talking about how men misinterpret women about when they say they don't need a man. Yes. The only thing, and you expounded on that, what you said. The only thing I was going to say, because I was in the chat, is that there's two sides of communication: the person who hears and the person who speaks. And women need to remember, men are literal. They take things literally. When you say, I don't need you, unless they've been, studied the finer art of women's communication to understand, what a man hears is, okay, you're saying you don't need me, so I'm out. And so, I would just say that, yeah, it's cool that men need to, realize all that. But anyway, it would be probably women could help the situation out by saying, hey, when I say I don't need a man, I don't mean that I don't need you or whatever. I just don't want to be in a relationship. I'm good. And maybe some of them really do mean I don't need a man, but, but that's like the way, I know when I've heard that before, and really, and I've read the Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus books, and I should know better. But, still, it initially hits me. It's like, oh, you're telling me you don't need me, because if I told No Saint, we're on the job, I don't need you. No Saint says, oh, then I'm done. I'm out of here. I'm going on down the street. So it's kind of like how we interpret things in that framework. So,
well, I will make a note of that, and I will be more communicative when I'm having a conversation with a man, because if they are literal and they hear that, I'm like, that's not what I meant. And I noticed that, and we've seen it a lot, right? Like when a man hits a woman, you wanted equal rights. It's like, what the fuck does the woman getting hit in the face with a brick have to do with equal pay and work? How do we get here? Why do I have to open your door? You wanted equal rights. Where how did this happen?
Have you had any of your men in the past say, when you say you do this such and such all the time and it chaps my ass when you do this, something to that effect? And he says, I don't do that all the time. He literally, in his head, He thinks you're saying you do this. You know, you did it on Monday, you did it on Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, on and on and on. What you're just saying is, hey, look, you do this a lot enough to annoy me and bother me.
Yes.
That's really what you're trying to say. So
yes. Because I know I get annoyed when a man tells me that you always, and I'm like, always, but I don't even I barely see you. What the hell are you talking about? So you're absolutely right. We can learn. We're still learning. We are young yet. We're still learning here.
And it's another thing I learned in communications is there's what you intend, and then there's the impact. And I'll steer briefly over here in the race area. I remember one night, Lily, you'll remember this.
Do we need the bell?
Yeah, she can go ahead and ring it if she wants to.
Why? What's about to happen? What's about to happen?
No. Just real quick, but I realized something, Lily, when you were saying, I said, you know how when I first came on here, I said, you know, Black people, I know it's going to be tough, but they need to get over it. And you said to me, you said, hey, look, I agreed with your point, but I didn't like what you said. And so there was the intent behind what I mean, like, hey, they need to move on. They really need to find it within themselves to get past this and move on and to find the inner strength that they actually have, because they're survivors actually, and move forward. Instead, what I came across is very harsh and very, you know, the impact was what you probably heard was, this son of a bitch is just like cold-blooded, you know, whatever. And it was just very brash even, you know, sounding. So it's like there's the intent and impact. So that's another thing, because I
have a huge issue. I have a huge problem with impact. I'm very impatient. I got what you said right away, George. I wasn't offended by it, right? Even though people will say, well, you're not Black, that's why you're not offended. You could have said it about Puerto Ricans. I would have still agreed with you. I do have a huge issue with impact, and I'm very impatient about explaining my intent. I'm like, get it. But I've learned in life, it's like the majority of people, you have to sugarcoat shit and hug them when you're saying it. And yes, extremely tired, exhausted.
But it's something we got to do. Yeah.
I still don't like it, George.
No.
I agree with you.
Still don't like it.
In a sense, Jenny, it's what I love about this panel. Y'all, for the most part, don't sugarcoat shit. And I, you know, it's kind of like, yeah, you may step on my toes and blacken my eye and bloody my nose, but damn, I know it comes from love, right? You know, in other words, I realize you're being real with me. Okay.
Right.
You know, so anyway, all right. I think I steered this way off in another direction. I didn't mean to, but anyhow, just
no. It's a great, I mean, that's what happens here. Someone said, oh my God, he's doing this to a Latina. She may be Filipino. Filipino.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's Latina. I'm just saying.
She's a Latina. Yeah.
He's in it for the money.
Triz, she supported him. He had no money when he started.
And now she's about to cash out.
Good. She should.
That's what I'm saying.
If she put the work in, I mean, if you build something, you're just going to walk away. No, you're going to be like, I want a fucking return.
Right.
Tristan,
is trying to get cut.
Doing with in Django, in the movie Django.
I'm just supporting the black and white, you know, relationships that we have on these panels. That's all.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, it doesn't look like the relationships we have on the panel, but okay, I'll take it.
I don't know about what panel, not this one, but okay, we'll take it.
Not this one, because you know we're equally racist. So on everything across the board, it's just in case somebody wants to clip it.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, that's very, very true.
Now you guys got me curious. It just says she was born in Phoenix, Arizona. I don't know her ethnicity.
Well, that's close to Mexico, so
it is Mexican.
Yeah, Mexico. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, all right. Different. Welcome, Haran DeMarco. Can we have less wall and more you? Just from my
This is all I got today.
That's fine. You don't have to move. Can you just do this for Mama? Can you just do that? Can you just do that just a little bit? Can we just get the? Thank you.
Right.
Just a little. Yeah, that's all. It's just,
Okay.
Yeah, everybody got their pet peeve.
I hear you, man. I hear you, man.
This is my pet peeve right here when people come up like this. Okay. That's my pet peeve.
They peeking over.
All right.
Let me tell you something.
Let me bring down a little bit more just because you might hit him, man.
And can you maybe expand the walls out a little bit too?
No, he's on his phone.
White man,
he's on his phone.
White man, now you're asking for too much.
Yeah, he's on his phone, so it's gonna look.
I know.
Okay. Oh, look, my boo just hopped up on the panel. How you doing, baby? Hey. All right. Yeah, I still got a crush on him. So, Haran DeMarco, I don't know if you've been listening. Have you been listening?
Nah.
Or okay.
Right
Well,
in
we've
the middle
been
of something, but I'm seeing the title.
okay.
And how value men cheat. I think everybody can cheat. Just everybody ain't gonna have the same outcome.
Oh, that's how you coming in?
Yeah, I think everybody can cheat. Just everybody just not gonna have the same results.
Oh my.
It's just like saying anybody could pop off at the mouth. Anybody can. It's just somebody gonna get punched in the face. Some people won't get punched in the face so quick. It's just a thing. You know what I mean? If you are and you don't necessarily have to have money. Shit, I've seen many a broke dude cheat on many a woman and keep her in line. This ain't really about being high value. We need to really get away from that high value bullshit. There's a lot of broke motherfuckers out here really slinging it, doing it real big without a dime to their name. So all that high value shit, but I get it in terms of the concept and the algo. You know, most of these dudes, you know, they wait till they get some money in order to live this life of having a harem and so on and so forth. And then they disrespect the woman who, shit, she might have really been the fucking brains of the operation, because that happens too. You know what I mean?
That happens a lot.
She might have helped them to a degree. You know what I mean? And he wants to shit on her, and that's not cool. You know what I mean? Because if you shit on your main chick for some fly by night chick who you know deep in your heart wouldn't give two fucks about you, if you didn't have that money and prestige, you deserve whatever you get after that, man.
Okay. Jen, have you ever seen the show For My Man?
I don't even like the title.
It's what it sounds like. Okay, basically, long story short, women who commit crimes to please their man, right? But it's been on for some seasons now. It's been on close to 10 years now. But me and somebody was talking about it earlier. We was like, you know what? What's ironic? All those men are dusty and broke. That's the crazy part about it. These women are going to prison, some for life, for crimes that they committed.
I think the problem is a lot of men don't concentrate on one thing. A lot of men think that every woman has the same fucking needs, man. These dudes be sitting there, you know, for instance, you know, one woman you might see this woman with this dusty ass fucking dude, or a couple of these women with this dusty ass dude. These women might be accomplished. These women might be whatever. These women might be to some degree high value, but he might have something that the other men, maybe in her bracket, maybe at her job, don't have. Maybe he has personality. Maybe he's great in bed. Maybe he listens. Maybe he does a lot of the things that doesn't require money. Everything can't be fixed with fucking money, man.
So what it sounds like we're saying tonight sounds like a myth is being busted, because we've heard Andrew Tate, rock with me. We've heard Andrew Tate say it. We've heard Kevin Samuels say it. A lot of men that are YouTubing say it, right? High value men, right? Or high earning men, however you want to say it. They have the option to sleep with many women, right? And they also need the main to understand that. However, we've seen it. Haran, you spoke about it. Lily, there's a whole show about it. A lot of men who have not a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of have the same behavior, have the same exact behavior. When we look at Peter Gunz from Love and Hip Hop, he had multiple women and multiple children, and they were all dedicated to him, right? He didn't have a harem. He was literally jumping from woman to woman, explaining to each woman that he had to be there for the kid and blah, blah. So are we busting a myth tonight where it's like you don't have to be high value, and being high value has absolutely nothing to do with it, though they preach it a lot?
Absolutely. I mean, for the reality is that most of these high value dudes that I've met, that I've actually met, high value, a lot of these dudes are just cornballs who got a lick. You could just see the cornball in them. No matter how expensive the shirt is, no matter how many bevies they have around them, the cornball just keeps dripping out of their fucking pockets. They keep dripping through their fucking skin. You know what I mean?
Exhibit
they
A.
just can't help it.
Exhibit A.
Yeah. And Jen, I don't think it's really busting a myth.
Say again, George?
I don't think we're really busting a myth. And what I mean is obviously you've heard this saying, two things can be true at the same time. So we're zeroing in on the high value men and this and that and the other. But the way, and I've seen what Haran's talking about too. I look at the whole on the balance. What normally happens is those dudes who have greater access to resources and stuff, it's easier for them to get a woman and keep them. Okay. And so even though like Haran, you're talking about maybe the dudes who are so socially inept and everything that they're just, you don't see how they could keep a woman. But that guy that I keep talking about, Orion Taraban, Dr. Taraban, he drew out this square, and he said, and he did the whole XY thing, and he said, basically boil it down to this, is if you've got money but not looks, a woman will desire a relationship with you, but she won't really want to have sex with you. In general, this is the way this works. These are the women that will go off and cheat with these other, they find some dude, young dude, whatever, to get with, and they have that fling because this dude over here, they're not really into him, but they are into his bank account. They like what he does for them that way. And then, he goes on and explains some other things. But yeah, you're right, Haran. If a person, guy is really charismatic, and let's take it down to he's dirt poor. My dad was very charismatic, very forceful, very strong in his opinions, but the man was emotionally abusive. Okay. And the women who were with him, and I love my mom, and my mom eventually wised up and left him. But the women who were with him, I got to say, I think from my standpoint, they didn't have good self-esteem or something like that. And social pressure, we're talking about people born in the 40s, right? So, they got married young, all that. So, that happens. You're right, Haran. That does happen. I'm just saying, but all things being equal, generally the dude who's got the options is the one who, the dude who's got the money has the options. Okay, that's it. I'll leave it.
I mean, when you're from the hood, man, I mean, we all knew one guy who stayed fresh out. He was always with a bad chick that took care of him. Stayed fresh out, career criminal. And always stayed with a chick who had a career, who came to visit him, wanted to take care of him. So there's this sect of the world that these so-called high-value men don't talk about because they don't know anything about that. And you don't know anything about that because you're a fucking dork.
That's so fuck. Oh my God, Haran, that is so true. This is why.
So of course you're gonna say, yeah, just get some money and you'll be okay, because you and your fucking square group of motherfuckers, in your mind, you're saying, yeah, all we need to do is get some money and everything will be okay. Yeah, but there's a whole different world out there, and you don't speak on that because you're not qualified, man.
That makes so much. This is why I can't. A lot of these guys on social media, these dating coaches, I can't relate. I don't understand the language. I really don't understand it. I'm like, do you know? Like, I come from a world where dudes used to be getting off the subway with a brown paper bag and had some chick with a condo or an apartment waiting on him to finish doing his bid. You know what I'm saying? And all he had to do was come out jacked, you know what I mean? Muscles everywhere, hasn't had sex in about 3 years. And she is ready to take care of that man and house that man. So when I hear these guys telling other guys, hey, you got to have a certain amount of money. And I'm like, no, the fuck where have you guys been? Men don't need money to get women. However, men with money do get a lot of women. But it goes back to what George said. She will want to be with you. She will. But she will not prefer to fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
This is crazy.
I was in when I was in the music industry. You know how many dancers who I knew who was out here just straight banging everything in sight. Some of them were banging some of the celebrities. Some motherfuckers ain't got no fucking money. They on the fucking payroll. You know what I mean? So he's basically banging his boss. So it's like when you're around certain circles and you're in certain rooms, certain talk doesn't work on you because, like, no, I've been around this motherfucker. I've seen shit. You don't know what you're talking about, man.
Ron, what's up here, Lily?
I was just going to say, to your point, after Mariah left The Billionaire, she's been with the background dancer ever since. That was 2017.
I mean, and Jennifer Lopez's first husband was a waiter. Second husband was a background dancer. Mark Anthony, that ended in divorce because he has as much money as she does. And he's like, I don't give a fuck, right?
And Kiki let her man back in the whip.
Yes, she did. Thank you for the stupid chat. YouTube Press says, Haran, your Gravity album, amazing combo of energizing and relaxing. Keep them coming. Thank you for that support. Thank you for that support, YouTube Press. Who was speaking? Somebody was speaking.
Well, I was just going to ask Ron, the dudes you're talking about, like, come out of prison, and then these dudes, had they chose a different life, they would be at the top of a company because they have that kind of charisma, drive. They have that kind of, they talk about some of the smartest dudes in the world are, or criminals, that, they know how to make money. They just do it illegally or whatever. But yes, I'm getting to that they have that charisma to get people to follow them and just kind of project themselves and everything. That's
I do agree. A lot of them do. A lot of them do. A lot of them do.
Understand this. The only difference between a street criminal and a criminal in the boardroom is one has more patience and one is more calculated than the other. Street dudes need to.
Oh my God! You just listen. You just described Haran. You just described me, and I think it's cultural growing up in the quote unquote hood because I'm like, a lot of the girls that I knew, I'm like, they finished high school and then they went to college and blah, blah. And I'm like, I'm just going to finesse a resume and I'm going to be working at Price Waterhouse. And I did. I'm going to be working at US Trust. And I did. I am going to be working at Marsh and McLennan at the fucking, Avenue in the Americas. And I did. I didn't have the patience for college. I said, they want to see that I went to college? I was like, I got with my friend, print the fucking resume, say that I have a fucking bachelor's and blah, blah, blah. Then and I fucking did. And I got into all 3 Fortune 500 companies. I had no fucking patience. I'm like, I'm not doing fucking. And I'm working alongside the woman, right, who has the fucking real degree. I have no fucking patience. I don't.
And usually they are the worst because they don't have any type of street smarts and they're just literal like they, the book smarts where they're just taught to recall and regurgitate onto a test and stuff. But people like us to just pick up just like that.
I've done it. I'm not gonna lie. I've done it. And freaking try getting hired. For the record, try getting hired at fucking Marsh and McLennan. 3 interviews, okay? They put you up against the most suited, stick up the ass. And so what have you been doing? Marsh and try getting a job at fucking Marsh and McLennan. Go ahead.
All I'm gonna say.
Who is that?
I used
to work at. I used to work at McKinsey. I used to work at actual McKinsey.
The donut place.
What?
Not the donut place.
We got a donut place down here called McKinsey. All I gotta say is I'll take the doctor that went to college. Thank you very much.
Yeah, but we're not talking about open heart surgery. We're talking about pushing papers around.
I'll take the guy who has no street smarts operating my heart that went to the medical school.
That's what we're talking about, man.
He knows what we're talking about. He knows what we're talking about. That's
no, I mean, Jen, I get what you're saying, but of course, if you get busted, that's another.
And you get fired. You get busted and you get fired. Like that's the thing about us. That is the thing about us.
Just like the doctor. You remember the doctor that kept getting busted and fired, and he just go to another state and do it again? The fake doctor, like he had so many jobs as a doctor.
No, but I get what you're saying. There are a lot of degrees that, especially when you don't necessarily have to have that degree to do that job, like a business degree. I get what you're saying.
Yeah,
but it's just a way to get in the door. It's a certificate so you can get the job over someone who doesn't have it.
I want the real doctor too. But a lot of the shit that people tell you need a bachelor's and it's bullshit. It's all bullshit. There's a lot of rules in place that are fucking bullshit. I can't tell you how many idiots I've met with a master's. Many.
Oh God, they're the worst.
I sit across people and I'm like, how did you graduate any university in this country? How did you graduate? They have no reading comprehension. Okay, they have no wisdom. They have no foresight. I'm like, how did you graduate? How is this even possible?
Listen, I went to a party in Miami.
In the software engineering field, if you really want to be upper echelon and not the old coding guy who makes a good amount of money, but he's never management. You have to be able to explain the most complex concepts to a client enough for a 5-year-old to understand. I mean, down to what like big old notation is. I'll explain that to you guys some other time. But you know what I mean? If you can explain that in a manner where a 5-year-old can understand, that's the kind of person they want to put they want in meetings when they're discussing, things with clients and when they're closing deals. People like that, you can't just be a regular fucking coder. You have to understand people. You have to understand their motivations. You have to understand things far outside the concept of software engineering. So to the point of what Jen is saying, a great deal of street smarts is what's keeping back a lot of educated people from being, further in their career. It's not really their seniority or lack thereof or so on and so forth. They just don't understand people. There comes a time where you have to understand people in order to really get that bag.
I breeze through. I'm not even gonna lie. I breeze through a lot of my job interviews growing up in my early 20s. I would sit there. True story. I would sit there and look around the room and see. Okay, this motherfucker likes hockey. New York Rangers are playing in Madison Square Garden next week. Blah, blah. I'm looking around. I'm like, okay, there's a fishing picture there. He has a family. I'm gonna start bringing that shit up. This was me at interviews. I'm not lying. I'm not fucking lying.
Yeah, that's smart.
That's what I would do. I would case the joint quickly because here's the thing. People, if you're likable, people want you around, period.
Yes,
that's true. And also
being likable.
Yeah, and also if you can mirror the person when you're doing the interview, that's another technique. They say you mirror.
Yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of different ways. Now, am I saying it's for everybody? Absolutely not. Do I think college is necessary for a lot of people? It absolutely is. I'm just saying that there's ways around shit. I don't recommend.
No, I get you. Listen,
people are not me. Like
my friend, I talk about my friend Tony, who's a millionaire, who went to he went to an electronics school just to get his not a college, but just to get like a certificate. But he already knew all the stuff since he was like 9 years old. He was busting radios open, figuring out how they worked. He knew how to do it. He knew the theory of electronics. He read books. He could all that information would go in. And then he branched off into computer networking. And yeah, he's a millionaire now. And he's one of the he's a 2%er, where a 2%er over a 98%er. A 98%er is what most people are. 98% are, if you don't show up to work, people don't notice you're not there. The 2%er is when you don't show up at work, everybody knows you're not there. He's a 2%er.
Yeah,
and he didn't go to college.
Those are my favorite people. People who are self-taught are my favorite people. Those are the ones that stimulate me the most in conversation. I went to a party in Miami last year and I went with a friend who's a PhD. Now this friend is super, super smart. And then they were like, oh my God, we're about to go in here with all these, like, one person is the person who invented the Call of Duty, and just like all these people that did all these things, right? And they were like, oh my God, what are we going to talk about? I was like looking like, what the fuck are you talking about? Do you know I ran circles around them in that damn party? And they were just like, oh my God, you're so smart. And I'm just like, but you got a PhD? What the fuck?
Yeah.
It's the self-taught people because they don't have limits. Go without the constraints of having to study for a specific test and have these specific answers to recall, right? So those typically are usually the ones that stimulate me the most.
And again, I am stressing, some of y'all need college. Please go. I'm not saying don't go to college. That is not what Jen is saying. I am just saying it is not the route for everyone. There are a lot of college students working for people who never went to college. That is a fact. Okay, that is a fact. I remember when Barbara Corcoran, Shark Tank, Barbara Corcoran, she's one of the sharks on Shark Tank. She said that she'd rather work with kids who are not college educated. Her words, not mine, right? Because they work harder. They work harder and they want it more. And, Deion Sanders said something similar, something about a struggle makes for a better quarterback, right? These things are true. People get insulted by them. They do. However, statistically, these things are true. Is it true? Like Lily says, is it true? Is the truth true? Is what I'm saying true? So, yes, by all means go to college, but I've met many an educated dummy in my day.
I heard something similar. I mean, I guess, but the line was only the most broken people make the best leaders, something to that effect. Meaning that when you're people who struggle and so on, you tend to see so many sides of the argument, and you tend to land on so many sides of the track. By the time you get to where you've been, you just have a broad scope of how to get things done because you've met so many people, you've gained so many, areas of knowledge. When you're going down a particular straight path of education, most of the people that you're in contact with are other educated people. You know what I mean? And sometimes your thinking might be rather rigid because you've been conditioned to go down a particular line.
And I'm sure you've had this happen. Like you have a degree in computer science, but I'm sure you coded alongside dudes who had like music degrees. They were art. What I mean is that
absolutely
they had the aptitude to do the job. They had it's kind of like they had the shit you can't coach. You can do. They can do it. And Jen, to your point about degrees and all that, I told a lady one time where I was working at. It was clear to me she had all kinds of potential. She just had it. She just had the, put it in sports terms, she could run a 4.2 40 all day long. But I said the thing here where we are, the degree, the piece of paper on the wall is your ticket into the club. All that degree is doing, I said, just go get it. It validates what you already know. That's all it is. I said, if not, that calls the way they're going to handle this. They're going to, at the higher up you go in corporate America, if they're going to be, it's kind of like, well, if you want to get up into the C-level suite, people typically have a MBA or whatever, it's not always true, obviously, but
right.
Yeah. But I was just telling her, it was like, and to me, to people who really have a high degree of practical intelligence. That's kind of like the street smarts, that kind of thing. Those people tend to do pretty damn good. Those are the people who are maybe not the smartest person in the class, but They're the person who, if you put them on a team project, they can get everybody working together, manage it, get it going, get it moving, and then and they're successful and they get along with people. You know, it's kind of like
and there's less, honestly, it's weird, but there's less fear the less you know. There's less fear, right? You just do, right? And that's what Barbara Corcoran was talking about. She was like, they just do. While the kids that are educated, it's like they're constantly thinking, is this right? Is this right? Because I read in that book. What did I read in that book? Where the other entrepreneurs, they just do. They just do. They don't know about mistakes or failure. So they're constantly trying more than the educated person. They're constantly trying more, right? It's like, well, that didn't work.
That's
Oh,
a really
well.
good point. You're right about that.
You know, and they just move forward.
Jen, I tell everyone this whenever people come to me and ask me questions about how I started business and all this other stuff. I tell them I made every mistake. I feel like I made every mistake possible because I was completely ignorant. I knew nothing. And I felt like I made every mistake possible, but I didn't have fear. Now, when I got to where I wanted to go, I looked back and I said, if I knew what I was going to have ahead of me, I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. The fear would have kept me paralyzed. So it was really good that I didn't have it. But then going back to another point, you know, I look at my family and my brother and I talk about this a lot. Our parents and their generation, they were like gutter poor. All right. And they all, people hate this, pulled themselves up by the bootstraps and got up out of that situation and moved to the next.
How dare they do such
How dare they? For some reason they did it. I don't know what made them do that. And then they got to a better standard, and where we were able to live in better neighborhoods and go to better schools, but we still didn't have money, right? So we were essentially poor, but with better amenities. And so that created something in my generation. And then all of us, we came up and we're all doing well. And to the point where their children know nothing about poverty. But what I'm also noticing now is that their children don't function as well as we did. Right. So it is something to that. Unfortunately, you know, struggle does make for strong, you know, adapters, and we are flexible. We can pivot. We don't get stuck when things are like, oh my God, it's not working out. Okay, pivot to the next thing. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword.
Listen, I think that in the past, when they talked about college, they said you had to go to college. You had to at least go. I did go to college, but I didn't go to college for a degree. I went to college because I wanted to go and take classes. But my career was already on its way. But that was almost a mandatory. They said you have to go to college or you're going to be working here. You have to. Obviously, that's not true. But not only is that not true, I think today there's certain careers that you do have to go to college for, but most of them aren't the ones we're talking about working downtown at some of these jobs in the city. Some of them are anything to do with science, anything to do with mathematics, engineering, that kind of stuff you need to go to college for. You're not going to there's just too much knowledge to be passed on. You can't go and just start doing things out in the field on your own without some kind of a background in it. And some of these,
if I showed up on your job as a paramedic and you asked me where did I go get my training, I said, oh no, man, I just been reading a lot of books. You'd be like, holy fucking shit, sit down. You know,
well, I mean, definitely. Even with that, and you know, you have to go and ride around and with people and see live fire basically. But what I'm saying is there's certain things you absolutely need to go to college for. It's usually the scientific, mathematics, doctors, medical doctors, stuff like that. But like the basic business degree, especially at the price they're trying to sell it at now, I just don't think it's, and I'll include the coding. I mean, there are people that can be self-taught in coding, and there are people that are gifted, but I think that those kind of things, college is.
Well, with coding, here's the thing. You could be self-taught as a coder, but that doesn't mean you're a computer scientist. See, I had to learn that at actual computer science and studying the concept of programming. That's different from coding per se. You know, that's different from web coding and stuff like that. And you have a lot of people who've had a great career as coders or web, even web programmers, but they just don't know a lick of computer science. You know what I mean? And you know, it would be great if they did do that, because that would help their career. For me personally, I would never shit on me personally. I'm not shitting on formal education. I don't think anyone is. I was self-taught. I'm mostly a self-taught musician. However, I didn't really, my mind didn't really explode until I went to college, and I learned from like famous jazz pianists who, you know, I had reputable, like, actual, you know, jazz pianists, you know, instructing me. I learned how to compose, and you know, in the genre of classical and jazz and so on. So that expanded my thinking. You know, you can have a gift, but if you have the opportunity to gain formal training with that gift, I say go for it.
Yeah, I agree. Nobody's shitting on formal education at all. What I said was, what I'm not going to shit on. I need people to go to college, because when I have my company, I need people to figure out the books and the numbers. I'm going to be owning the company. I need you college kids to come and interview for the job that I'm going to need you to have for my company. What I'm saying is that a lot of people who aren't technically, you know what I mean, formally educated own companies, and then they need the college kids to come on in there. So, you know what I mean? It's, you know what I mean? It's like, now, of course, going back to what No's saying, say, yeah, if you're going to cut me open, I'd like you to have, you know what I mean, a master's, right, in surgery. But there's a lot of stipulations and rules on shit that's not necessary. And sometimes, honestly, conspiracy theories aside, are set in place to hold certain people back. And I got in that bitch. I was like, oh, you need to see I have a bachelor's? Okay, I'll just type it on my resume.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's just kind of interesting because people sometimes don't know what other people have to go through and learn. And I'm not saying this, Jen, for you, but like, I'm thinking of the paramedics we have where I work. They are underpaid because they can push drugs. Nurses can't push drugs, and they have to know what drugs counteract with other drugs. They have to know how much to put in. They have to know by weight. It is, and this, and again, I know, Jen, this wasn't what you were saying, but, and that's not even it's essentially a 2-year college course, but it's like, you know, it's a paramedic certification. And if, you know, I don't think people know, like, when it comes to that, like how much
it's the same thing as it's the same thing as a bartender, though. Like, here's the thing. You have to know what to mix with this so you don't kill a person. I'm not a bartender, right? However, someone can learn by sight and be a bartender, right? I understand certain jobs need very specific. Listen, you can't kill a mechanic. A mechanic could just watch somebody else. He doesn't have to get a master's in mechanics. He could just watch his dad do it, and it's like, now he's a mechanic. But when you're talking about, I think you're talking about very specific, like put the needle in a vein this way, or you'll blow air in the person's vein and kill them. That's different. You're talking about very specific. I need to know what medicine to inject, how many cc's, how many whatever. I'm talking about regular everyday jobs, or even getting into corporate America. As a bartender, you have to know how to mix shit too, where it won't taste like a Cosmopolitan, or it won't taste like a Manhattan, or it won't taste like a Long Island iced tea. However, that person can learn by sight, right? By sight, where 5 other people actually went to bartending school. That's my point. So some people would be like, I'm a mixologist. I went to bartending school, and this guy's making the same exact money as you, except he learned by sight. That's what I'm talking about. But I do, again, I'm adamant about some people need fucking college. Please go.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think every mechanic went to trade school?
Fuck no, not.
Oh, okay.
But you're not getting away with, and I don't know if that's what Jen was saying, and I don't think she was saying that about paramedics. You're not getting away with that. There's no sight being a paramedic.
That's what she said. That's what she said.
That's what I said.
Yeah. Okay, just making sure, because she was. I mean, I thought that's what you said, but then at the same time, you were saying you could watch somebody mix some stuff up in a drink and learn from
because
that.
it's like, because you have to. And here's the thing: you want to get really jiggy with it. You can learn by sight how to mix medicine. You can learn by sight how to mix medicine. You can.
Yes.
You can.
You can.
Ask me how I know.
You can learn how to mix it. Now you may, you may be able to learn how to mix it, but you won't. But what my thing is, it's a lot more complicated because you got to know. You got to know if you're even supposed to give that medicine.
Yeah, you ever heard of a street pharmacist or how crack is made?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can learn by sight.
No, saying, you know why I call her Ghost?
Shut up, Tristan.
I mean,
shush. I
mean,
allegedly, Tristan. Allegedly.
It's the internet. Everybody's quote-unquote lies.
In these trap houses, no sense. There's not like a manual or a cookbook that
no
goes through before they get on payroll. You know,
and you have to have very specific ingredients.
Even a damn meth lab, or making ecstasy,
allegedly,
or
we know this knowledge
allegedly. I cannot confirm nor deny.
So Jen, were you kind of like Breaking Bad before Breaking Bad was Breaking Bad?
I was not, George.
To Mr. Benson, they're all saying allegedly. Mr. Benson, who the guy who's running my investigation.
I'm just saying there's such a thing called as a street pharmacist, and they did not go to pharmacy school. That is all I'm saying.
No Saints Point. I got in a motorcycle accident about 6 years ago, and they gave me too much morphine.
Yeah, doctors fuck up all the time. Yeah,
all the time. Yeah,
it was a nurse came in there, and my blood pressure dropped like 35 over something, and damn near killed me. But fortunately, it wasn't enough. And I told them, I said, after that. So in other words, yeah, you do it by sight. Yeah, she's like, oh, I think so. I'll give you a little extra. That's what she said. And
yeah, well, that's then she could lose her license. You don't do it by sight. You do it by a lot of things, but you don't do it by sight.
Listen, I'm also very strict about. I will say that I said what I said, but I'm also very much that person. I like certain people doing my shit certain ways, right?
And nurses nurses don't push narcotics. So it might have been like an anesthesiologist or
excuse me?
Yeah. Nurses can't
like legally?
Yeah.
I'm confused. That's what I was telling you. Paramedics can push narcotics and nurses can't. That is
I think legally. Yeah, hold on. When you're in the hospital, no Saint?
What?
Because I'm confused. Because I've had plenty of nurses push some good dope up in my veins. So
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think.
You want to shout out to them for that?
I'll get back to you on that.
Law or something? Because I can call a few nurses right now.
Let me check on that. I'll go back and take that back. But there are things there are certain drugs that I know paramedics can push that nurses aren't allowed to do. I just don't know. I'll have to check. I'll ask. I'll check.
I'm sure there's limitations.
I don't know. If they pushing chemo, they can push almost anything.
Well, what I think he said they can't prescribe the medication, but they can actually.
No, I'm not talking about
medication.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Listen, let me double check. I know what I'm saying. I don't know if what I'm saying is 100% correct, but I know there are things that paramedics can do that nurses can't do that has to do with narcotics, with drugs. Well, but I don't want to speak out of turn because I'm not a paramedic. But I know I've heard them say it. There are certain things they do that aren't even allowed. Nurses aren't even allowed to do.
I know a psychiatrist can prescribe, but a psychotherapist cannot.
Yes.
But like I said, I'll let you know, and if I misspoke, I misspoke, and I'll let you know if I misspoke.
Okay. Got you on that.
But again, I like my, I want my pizza from Italians. I want my men work for men. I want my hair done by Dominicans. I like my soul food, black people cooking it. Like, I just like my shit a certain way. I want my doctor fully educated and degreed up. You know what I mean?
Motherfuckers looked at me real funny when I said that shit one day. Like, look, man, I walked into a taco spot one day and I saw Asians behind the counter.
Right. I saw a white man behind the counter. I was like,
I'm like, yo, I'm good, and I don't want Jamaicans cooking. I want Jamaicans cooking my Jamaican food. I don't. If I go to get
wait a fucking minute, you were out here, Haran, and we didn't go to that Jamaican restaurant I told you about.
Yeah, I remember.
Shit. Next time. Yeah, you got to remind me, because that place
is I want cooking my Jamaican food. I don't want Jamaicans cooking Chinese food. You know what I mean? Like, look, I'm rather racist when it comes to my
definitely.
I told you I'm an asshole. After I got in that accident, I didn't want them chicks putting me in the fucking nail. I was like, I want that fireman.
see, America, this panel is equally racist. Everybody gets their fair share.
We really do. And we're even misogynistic.
All of the above. All of the above.
You were talking about you get your hair done by Dominicans.
Yes.
I will only let a Latina cut my hair. A Puerto Rican lady cuts my hair.
Oh.
Or a black woman or a gay black man.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about.
We got our things.
It's just over experience, my luck. I don't know what it is.
Well, I know most women prefer a man to do their hair, their makeup, and their nails. Especially nails. I get that a lot for nails and makeup.
But
nails and makeup.
Lily, I don't know what it is, but the black women who have cut my hair, there's just something. They got an eye for there. I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's kind of like the results were too much different. I was happy, I was like, man, this really fucking looks good, to the point where I'm walking through and women are looking at me and they're like smiling at me. And it's like, they like my haircut. I'm like, versus when it was a white girl doing it, it was kind of like, yeah, okay.
She didn't add the soul.
Moxie says a nurse practitioner can prescribe drugs.
Oh yeah, they can.
Well, definitely that. Definitely nurse practitioner.
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
They just print it now.
I'm trying to find some things, but here's a quick quote. It says, paramedics are essentially able, if required, to operate at the level of a doctor in a pre-hospital emergency situation. Nurses have a broader range of responsibilities than paramedics, including emergency, convalescent, and outpatient care, but will typically call in doctors for more advanced treatment protocols. But as far, I haven't found anything yet. But like I said, that might be what I'm talking about. I'll have to look into it, though.
All right, guys. So that concludes tonight's episode of On the Block with Jen. Mañana, are we doing the Divestors tomorrow? Wasn't there something we were doing tomorrow? What were we doing?
We're doing the Divestors tomorrow.
We're doing the Divestors tomorrow. Okay, cool. We will talk about that. Let's make it spicy. Absolutely. on Friday, and then Saturday
to show up.
Yeah, and then Saturday, I'd love to hear from Black women tomorrow that date white men specifically. I'd love for you guys to come up. If you're watching and lurking, anybody, hit that like and subscribe for me, guys. If you're lurking and watching, Black women who only date white men or prefer to date white men, please, by all means, tell them to pull up to the block. We'd love to hear from them, because we are going to be talking about Divestors tomorrow. And then Saturday, I'd love to get into this whole AI situation and back to this weirdo brother Polight, who's been posting videos that he's free of charges while he sits in the prison cell. Very bizarre. I'd like to revisit that on Saturday and the whole internet thing and what it's turning into yet again. All right, so tomorrow let's do the Divestors. That's spicy. Okay, we will come back. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming up and contributing. Do not interrupt me, sir. Haran, thank you for coming up, though you had some stuff going on. You may speak now, No Saint.
Know your place, white man.
Is it too quick in the sentence in the jail to call him Sister Polight now?
Well, according to Lily, about what is it, 3 months?
3 months, Lily. 3 months. I being nice tonight. I feel nice. I feel real pleasant tonight. I'm being real nice tonight. We're gonna give him 3 good months, and then yes, she'll be Sister Polight in 3 months. So we'll revisit that.
That dude is weird. That dude is weird. I've seen weird, but that dude is weird. Very strange.
And with the AI thing, we have to discuss how the song that The Weeknd and Drake never made is now being nominated for a Grammy. So we'll get to that too, because there's some other stuff.
Let's go.
Yeah, but I don't understand why just copyright your voice. It's simple. Like I don't get it.
I'm gonna go into. We could go into all that on because it's a lot.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. This is Napster happening all over again.
Yes.
Music industry is so late with every fucking thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're just late with everything.
All right, guys. Thank you, George, for coming up. Tristan, we haven't seen you in a minute. Shall we say congratulations to Tristan? Tristan,
congratulations, Tristan.
Thank you.
She looks very happy, Tristan. She looks very happy to be with you.
Listen.
Look how happy Tristan's new wife is.
Wow.
Why are y'all so petty? Why are y'all so petty? And and now y'all know I'm gonna have to explain what did they mean by that, because of the whole American and other country disconnect. Y'all assholes.
So Tristan, did you get engaged or did you graduate from college? I remember you were. What's that?
I got married.
He got
married. Okay. All right, man.
We did got the legal part done, and the religious. Ghost, I gave it to you, right? The save the day if you
so are we going to El Salvador? Are we going to El Salvador, guys, to see Tristan get married?
It's the 17th of February. It's the religious part, so
I can Zoom you, Tristan. I can do a Zoom.
Well, no, that's what we're doing also, because
that would be fun.
It's not in the country, so we're basically gonna stream for those who can't make it. So it's not like you have to be there type of thing.
So. Speaking of getting our passports, the Equalizer was amazing, okay? But I gotta say, they turned my boy Denzel into a passport bro, and that's all I'm gonna say. I'm not gonna give you any spoilers, but I was like, what the fuck is this? He turned into a fucking passport bro. What is going on here? It's fucking Denzel.
You spoiled this shit over. You spoiled this shit already for me, man. I'm gonna go in there. I'm like, they got Denzel out here. They got my nigga Zell out here simping, man.
Yeah, Denzel, look, he giving passport bro in this movie. I ain't really like that part.
Man.
But did he do that in Man on Fire though? Because it's the same girl. It's kind of like an extension of that, no?
It's not an extension of that. It is not connected in any way, shape, or form. It's just that Dakota Fanning is now older and she's playing an agent in The Equalizer. It's not connected at all.
Oh.
That's the connection. That it's the same actress in Man on Fire and the same actress in The Equalizer.
Man died in the back seat.
Yeah,
but did he die though? Did he die or did he just take a nap?
He died. Una palabra no dice nada.
Did you see the body get buried?
He died. I love that shirt, Haran. Thank you for not wearing the dusty Yankee cap. I love y'all.
He shaved and everything.
Oh my God!
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. People represent.
Ghost was on that ass.
Lily looked like she ready for a wedding. Okay, that's what we doing, honey. You see my lazy ass. I was like, I will not take out my pin curls.
Okay.
I'm not.
We'll have to go out tonight.
What did YouTube press? What did it say? Before you go, I heard there's a photo from the Baby Maker app going around Twitter of No Saint and Sir.
Wait, what?
Sir.
Wait, what? What?
No.
Have several.
I will not procreate with the white devils. I will not. Bury me in the ocean. Bury me, throw me from the ship and bury me in the ocean. Damn it. What I gotta do to get some respect? respect around here.
God damn, she shook the screen.
I mean,
R.I.P. Khalid Muhammad.
R.I.P. baby.
I mean, once you see one pasty cheek, you seen them all, huh, Ghost?
Yeah. Speaking of, No Saint gave us them cheeks. Pause in Vegas. You guys really listen. You guys got to rewind and go back to our videos when we were in Vegas when Lily and I were cooking.
Yeah.
You know how crazy it was?
That's racist.
You know how crazy it was? I'm watching that stream, and my wife comes in the room, and she sees a man in a fucking thong, and she's like, "What are you watching?" I'm like, she's like, "That's not Jen's channel." I'm like, "No, it's not. No," because if I did, she was like, "You're not coming back on here."
Listen, that's a classic episode.
It is.
Oh, guys, I'm gonna say this tomorrow as well. I'm feeling generous again, Lily.
Just give me $50. Just give me the $50 first.
I'm not feeling generous with my money. Okay.
Oh damn.
I'm feeling generous, Lily. I am unblocking everyone I've ever blocked on Thanksgiving Day.
That's funny.
So if you or your friends or anyone has been blocked by the block, you will be free on Thanksgiving Day.
So that just means we just going to get cussed out by numerous people all on Thanksgiving Day. Well, I'm thankful for that anyway. I'll take what I can get. I'm thankful.
Lily, it's a second chance. Okay. It's a second chance. I didn't say they would go back to being blocked. I didn't say they wouldn't go back to being blocked. I said I'm going to free everyone. Everyone's going to be free. All the people that have hated on me, you, George, No Saint, Haranch, everyone who's ever hated on us will be free on Thanksgiving Day.
Listen, this first game of the NFL is within the last few minutes. It looks like it's close, but so I'm going to get out of here. But I did win some money.
Yeah.
I did win some money tonight. I will say that I won some money tonight betting on this game.
Lord.
But I'd like to say something that. If you haven't checked out Moxie's channel, I've checked out a couple of her videos. It's pretty good. She's got some good content going on her channel as well. So I just want to shout out to the chat. Go check out Moxie. Go check out Moxie Wits.
But Moxie's never come up on the panel. Why Moxie don't come up on the panel? If she got her own whole channel, why she don't come?
Hey, Moxie's got standards.
Moxie, come on up here.
I also want to say something real quick.
We got standards too, and we let you up anyway, No Saint.
That's true.
Shit. Yo, quick thing. I just want to YouTube press. Thank you again for checking out the album.
That was love.
Number
that
two,
was love.
My numbers are looking great on my channel in terms of the views when I'm dropping videos. And another thing too, I got to give an extra shout out to Lily.
To me?
To Lily. That night, she actually helped me win a beat battle on a particular channel.
Oh yeah.
You were voting, Lily?
Yeah, Lily
I was like this. I was just like one of them Nigerians. I'm racist. In the call centers, like.
Oh, that's dope.
She voted. She helped the brother out. Brother got a little change out of it.
Nice.
Shout out to her and the whole block. Period. You know what I mean, for helping me out and supporting the music. You know what I mean, and basically helping me get back.
And I'm part block, so I'm gonna take my little credit, okay?
Absolutely.
I subscribe to all y'all's channels. I like the short that you did the other day with the alligators.
Oh yeah. That was cool.
Yeah,
it's crazy. You know, I think, man, we're just from a different generation where I think people are really looking for like well thought out content. People just want to see. That's like probably my highest rated video on YouTube right now. I think it's clickbait. I think it's clickbait. People are like, ooh, alligators. Maybe someone's gonna fall in or something. I don't know.
You know, people are very morbid.
Yeah. Matter of fact, do another one and caption it. Poor guy lost an arm. 5,000 views.
It will work.
5,000 views.
That was like not too far. That was like right.
Yo, Saint, that's I'm talking to you behind the scenes behind that. That's a good idea, Jay. I'm seeing some things with that. We're gonna talk behind that.
It'll get some hate.
Use the word. It doesn't matter. They'll be hating in the comments, and that'll keep you in the algorithm. Or use the favorite manager. Man gets destroyed by alligator.
Right. you see, I put that in the short that I did with you.
Yeah.
I was like on the block with Jen destroyed.
You gotta use destroyed. Men like that word. For some reason, men like the word destroyed. You gotta use destroyed.
That was like about, I don't know, 5 minutes away from the station. Like there's a canal that goes back there. And that was, I'm telling you, the one that you see swimming at first was a nice size, but that one you see the head, that was a pretty big alligator. I mean, if you saw the body, I tell you, I'm coming out there this month. Yes. And my daughter wants to go to some trail that has like a warning sign. It's not even like a contained. Do you know where that is with the crocodiles and the animals? I would definitely, if she's talking about Lafitte National Park, it's free to get in. And
she's talking about some park where there's no, like, the alligators are not contained. And if you die, it's on you.
Yeah. If she's talking Lafitte, which she's really close, I think it's like basically in the backyard of where she's at. It's right there where she lives. Okay. And I go there. I always take people there, like, and I've never not seen an alligator back there.
Yeah, she's like, Ma, we gotta go. I was like, you want my insurance money?
You better chill, Jay. The motherfucking alligators, they can run as fast as a toddler. Y'all know
we
how
were
fast
talking about that.
Run, man?
No, we were talking about that they run fast. People think that they move like turtles. They do not.
The motherfuckers move, man.
But yeah, it's actually a national park, but it doesn't cost anything to go in. And there's a trail, and you can walk back up over to a bridge that goes. But every time, I'm always looking both sides, because you'll spot them. They'll be. Are
you gonna take me somewhere to eat gator? I've never had gator.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so we could do a live stream. My first time trying gator. I want some gator.
You'll love it.
And why don't you have an accent, no saying? I was telling my daughter, I was like, he was born and raised that he don't even got an accent.
And I love a New York. I love a New York accent.
Because he's a rich white man.
Like when you saw
Harry Connick Jr.
Like when you saw the chief that I sent you the video of, the way their parents and all spoke. Did you hear the way they?
Yeah, I like how.
They're from, but no, and Lily, you may or may not know this, but there are several different accent pockets. It's like any place, probably like New York, I imagine. But there's different pockets from where different people settle, where the Italians settled, or where the Irish settled, and there's different accents. I used to have an accent. I did until I went to the military, and then I lost it. Mm-hmm.
Oh God!
I got a military accent.
The government just can't leave shit alone.
And then when I lived in Michigan, I probably lost. It was California, then Michigan. I know I lost it because I can play videos from when I hadn't left, and there was an accent there. Yeah.
You need to post that on your YouTube. I want to see when No Saint had an accent. I'm curious.
Hey, I love a New Orleans accent. Harry Connick Jr., when he talks, I just love to hear him talk.
Moxie says, I'll come through either tomorrow or the next couple of days for sure to show some love and talk some smack with the Block Gang. Okay, Moxie's going to cam up with us. Okay.
My phone battery died.
Huh?
My phone battery's dying.
Okay, we out of here anyway. YouTube Press is from Alabama. Let me tell you something, YouTube Press. He says, I don't have a lot of money, but I got a whole lot of time and good internet. Again, appreciate what y'all do. We appreciate you. We got you. Okay. Thank you for supporting the show. Thank you, everybody who came up tonight. See y'all tomorrow. Get up out of here.
Good night.
Good night. Later. Hit that like and subscribe on your way out the door for Mama, and we will see you here mañana. Go check out the Star Report. He's probably still live if you need more YouTube in your life. Good night, guys.